Hello everyone and welcome to a new video on my channel. I'm Adam and today we are doing the Beast Quest retrospective video on Series 7, The Lost World. Yes, we are finally at Series 7, and for those of you who don't know and are relatively new to this channel, Series 7 is my favourite series of Beast Quest, where it's a bit of competition for which series is my favourite, but it's going to stay being Series 7 for a long time. And that comes down to multiple reasons. Nostalgia, how great the beasts are, and how enticing the story is. Multiple reasons why it's my favourite. And I'm so glad I finally get to do a video with it being my favourite series and being able to explain everything I like about this series. Now, I do need to say, every series of Beast Quest does have its negatives. So, yeah, I'm going to say it's not a perfect series, but to me, it's my favourite and, in my opinion, the best one. I'm aware I made a video a month ago saying which series is the best of Beast Quest, and I said Series 24. But that's more like an open opinion to where I feel lots of people can agree with. And the fact that Jack Griffin didn't actually agree with me here and gave a quite valid point on why he doesn't believe it's the best series and in fact overrated, I respect that. Honestly, I do. But that was just a wide opinion. This is a close opinion where I will say this is better than Series 24 without having any reason for why it is better. This just comes down to a personal preference. 24, fan-made series. Series 7, my series. So, in this retrospective video, I will be going through each beast or book one by one of Series 7, explaining what I like about each book as well as what makes them stand out, and highlight all the positives that I can find. I have gone to Jack Griffin's Beast review on Series 7 and Lucas Green's series review on Series 7, as well as also just going through ranking videos where I spoke about a beast in this series, or talking about the series as a whole and why it's my favorite. So I do have quite a bit to say, and all I'm going to say is strap yourself in. This is going to be one of the longer review retrospective videos. And honestly, I'm not going to apologise about it. I get to talk about Series 7, and as Jack said in my Series 6 retrospective video, I deserve to have the right to go on and on about Series 7 on why it's my favourite. And yeah, I am going to take advantage of that. So let's get into this. So we're going to start things off with introducing each beast, and then we'll go to each one by one. So starting off, Book 1, we have Conval, the Cold-Blooded Brute, Hellion, the Fiery Foe, Crestor, the Crushing Terror, Madara, the Midnight Warrior, Elic, the Lightning Horror, and Carnivora, the Winged Scavenger. Right, brief summary on the entire series, on what the whole story is. Tom, Alina, Freya, Storm, and Silver go through a portal with Mark, a wizard apprentice which they found in Chaonia, go through a portal from Chaonia and end up in what they believe was Avantia, but was established in the last pages of Vespic that something's wrong. And then we jump to this, we jump to Conval to find out that they're not in Avantia at all. They're in a lost world-like kingdom called Tavania. Tavania is a realm which is located in the Beast Quest universe. Not a different world, not anything, it's just a realm. But is ages away from it. Well, actually, it's either a realm which is ages away from any other realm that we've been to before, so a one-time visit kind of thing, or it's in a parallel universe. But I'm more inclined to believe it's a very distant realm, and that's because we know Malvel is there. And whilst there are people with similar names to people in Avantia in the realm, I wouldn't say that. Hey, I'll just say okay. Well, it's just Dalaton and Oradu. Those are the only mirror characters that I remember. And then, but you have Malvel there, and if it was a parallel universe, Malvel would have a different name. So, I'm inclined to believe it's just a far off realm, which I would say makes sense. But what the whole plot is that Tom enters this realm with his companions and friends, find out Malvel is actually ruling the kingdom, and they are all imprisoned in the palace dungeons by Dalaton, who is the Taladon counterpart. So what happens then when they break out? Freya stays behind to train up Dalaton, whilst Tom, Alina, Storm, and Silver go around the kingdom to defeat the beasts there, the good beasts of Tavania, and send them back to the area of Tavania where they're from. More on that later. I will say, when they found out Malvo was ruling, the first thing Malvo did was kill Mark. So it already starts off a bit dark. So that's my darkness. But anyway, moving on from that. R.I.P. Mark, by the way, but I really don't have much to say about you. Sorry. Moving on from that, we do go on to see more of Tavania, seeing it's just a mirror realm of Avantia, with same locations, just different names. Ruby Desert, Scarlet Desert, Forest of Fear, Forest of Doom. You get the idea. But something that is interesting about these, with each location where the beasts are, they're in the location that they're not really meant to be in. And what I mean by that is, you got a crocodile beast where you think they're in a swampy environment. You got him in a desert. Okay. A fiery beast. Okay, obviously a volcano. A forest. Okay. Okay, it looks like a watery beast here. Maybe an ocean, maybe? No, mountains. Okay, yeah, we'll deal with that. Okay, white for obviously snow to blend in with the background. No, the Central Plains. Oh, okay, okay, never mind then. Edict. Ooh, probably. Yeah, I'll say the ocean as well. Maybe a jungle. Okay, okay, and ooh, okay. I would say. You're either a mountainous beast or the plain or a plains beast. What? You're in the icy plains? They're all in the wrong. They're all in the wrong area of Tavania. Do you see what I'm trying to say now? So obviously these beasts are in the wrong area here, and that's what I like about these beasts, because they're in the wrong area, but they thrive in the area that they're in. And knowing that they can thrive in the area that they're suited for, as well as an area that they're not suited for, and still put up a good fight against Tom, that's what I like about these beasts, and why I hold all of them close to me, and saying that, hey, I don't see anything wrong with these beasts, nothing major anyway, wrong with these beasts. So with the story, it's just a case of defeating the beast, a lightning bolt comes in and takes them up into the clouds and puts them back where they're supposed to be. The good beasts of Tavania. And the only reason why they've gone rogue, not because they're enchanted, but because they're scared. They're scared or confused with where they are. They don't know their surroundings very well, and they just want to go home. That's all they want. So that is pretty much the whole plot of the story. And then it ends with, actually no, I'll wait till the end of this review for the retrospective for the talking about the end. But that is pretty much the whole summary of the start of the whole plot of the story. Now we're going to go on to Conval, where the main highlight of it is the story, where it opens up good, sets the stakes, and then Tom embarks on his journey with Storm, Silver, and Alina through the realm of Tavania. They end up in the Scarlet Desert, where they go against Conval, who puts up a quite good fight for a kind of beast that he is. I will be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of this beast, but I do hold him close to me for starting off great, and the beast itself is quite good, and I believe the first crocodile beast that we have. He sets a great standard, and yeah, while I say I'm not the biggest fan of this beast, I still hold him close because he kicks off one of my favorite series, and he was also one of the first Beast Quest books I've read. So that's why I hold him close. But on a Beast perspective, kind of mid. But other than that, fantastic beast. Nothing really wrong with him. Great story, mid beast, but great regardless. So don't think I don't like him. I do prefer him more than Komodo. That's all I'm going to say about that. Not going back onto that train again, because that was a 5-minute tangent. But Convul, great beast. Making that clear now, but it's a better story. Moving on to Hellion the Fiery Foe, arguably the weakest point of Series 7, and where most people may have their problems with it. And that's because, compared to previous beasts that we've had so far, this design seems kind of lazy. And what I mean by that is it's a humanoid beast, which I don't really like, and it's completely shrouded in fire, and they're like, yeah, we'll call it a day there. So, but being honest though, my likeness for Hellion actually came in the Battle of the Beasts All Generation tournament, which I've done on the Archive channel, where Hellion has actually surpassed my expectations and made it quite far. Quite far for what he is. And I have grown respect for him. To the point where I would argue, yes, he's the weakest of the series, but I wouldn't say he's bad. He's just okay. And if he continues to do well in future tournaments, he'll be a good beast. At the moment, no, Hellion is still my least favorite of the series, but in the story it does kind of expand more on Alina as a character, where we find out that her parents actually died in a fire, and for that, Alina's a bit traumatized by it and is actually scared of fire. And going against a beast made entirely of fire that sets fire to anything he touches, I think is actually ironic but great at the same time, where it gives Alina the chance to face her fears. So, like with Convul, great story. But you would think, if you read this series for the first time, you start off with Convul and Hellion and just think, okay, it's a good story, but the beasts aren't really that exciting, and I'm only here for the beasts. Really, why is Adam's favourite series this series when the beasts here aren't that great? And he even said they're not fantastic. Well, read book 3. Crestor, the Crushing Terror. The story continues to be on that high like it has been so far, and it doesn't go down, it goes up. It continues going up. And with Crestor, the beast perspective is like a little bit down with Hellion, and then shoots up, skyrockets for Crestor. Oh my god, I have mentioned so many times why Crestor is a fantastic beast. For me, he's god tier. But what I do need to say is, spoiler alert for my tournaments on the Archive channel, but he is a former runner-up on the Old Generation tournament and has made it to the top 3 in the All Generation tournament. If that is not a good enough excuse to say that this beast is a... Oh, I almost said a bad word. If this isn't a good enough explanation to say that this beast is a powerhouse and is probably one of the best beasts that have ever been created, I don't know what to say. It's one of the strongest, most versatile beasts that, despite being a water beast, is able to do quite fine without being anywhere near water. He has the claws to move his way around. Great abilities with the spines on his neck shooting out acid, his head being used as a hammer, webbed claws, and an agile swimmer, we can only assume. But also, look at this design. So serpentine-like for a beast that I wouldn't even say is a serpent. It's a fantastic design, and I love this design. I love the abilities, and I love the fight. And the story is still brilliant. So this beast is obviously one of the highlights of this series, and actually the first highlight of this series, beast-wise. And another thing I need to say about Crestor is now this might be a typo in the Holy Bible. When I say Holy Bible, I do mean this book. But in this book, it goes to each and every beast and says whether they're good or evil. And for every beast in for every beast in Tavarnia, they're labelled as good, except for one. Now, I do believe this is a typo, because I do think it's a bit odd that we have 5 good beasts and 1 evil beast, that being Crestor. But if it's not a typo, I can see why Crestor is the evil beast here. But the reason why I believe he's a good beast is actually because he comes back in the finale, which I'll get to later when I talk about the best book of this series. But for me, Crestor is the best beast of this series. And that's simply because of the Battle of the Beast tournaments I've done. I need to calm down because I'm about to get to a beast which I do like, don't get me wrong. But my liking for her has gone up for not the tournament, but for an inside joke I had at the start of my channel. Back when I was part of the Dimensional Gamer Squad, where it was me and my good friend at the time, Reese, where we had a channel, we did videos, just pretty much having fun. And when I left, I took the inside joke with me because it was my inside joke. And I can explain more about it, but with Madara the Midnight Warrior, my liking for her actually came from my beast review video on this beast, because when I first looked at this series, first read it and compared it to every other book I had, I just thought, you're alright, I guess, you look alright, simple design. But actually what makes her a great beast is actually the simplicity she has. What makes her a great beast to me is her design being so simple, so sleek. Those eyes, those piercing yellow eyes. The abilities are just as good, and the fight, not being as chaotic as Crestor was still quite high tense, where Madara was holding Alina hostage at one time. Fantastic. Honestly, a great beast. And to go into the topic about the inside joke I had at the start of this channel when I spoke about Madara for the first time, I finished recording that video, and I do record my videos with the curtains drawn, but when I finished recording that video, I drew my curtains open again, looked out, and there it was, at the end of the road of the street I'm on, a white cat with yellow eyes staring at my window. And my first thought is, oh my god, Madara's real. Okay, let's call Lucas and get him to know about this, because I'm now scared. So then when I got on the call with Lucas, I explained to him what I just saw. And when I looked back out the window, it was gone. The cat was gone. And then what I found hilarious was every other time in a future video where I spoke about Madara, at the end of the video, I would get up, draw the curtains, and there it is in the exact same spot. Terrifying. Now, at this point, I did mention it on the videos that I've done multiple times and said, hey, every time I talk about this book, Madara's out the window. It's brilliant. And I would love to pet that cat, honestly. But, it's hilarious that every time I speak about Madara, I see a white cat with yellow eyes outside my window when I finish the video. Now, in recent years, like probably, I don't know, 2 years ago, I finished a video talking about Madara. I opened the windows and it's not there. I thought, okay, maybe the running joke's coming to an end. And time after that, I never saw the cat again. It was a running joke which I had from 2018 going up to maybe 2020, and yeah, it was a fun joke and really funny at times, scaring me. But because I never seen the cat again and I actually know nothing about this cat, it's only logical that you can only assume what happened. And I don't know what actually happened. I don't know if the cat's not allowed to leave the house again. I don't know if the cat moved away with its owners. I don't know what happened to that cat, which is a bit sad, but like ultimately it was just a strange cat which I keep seeing after every time I speak about this beast, which resembles it quite well. But that is pretty much the whole story of the inside joke. And for those of you who are not aware of it, and it's quite frankly still hilarious when I think about it. But apart from that, though, Madara I still hold in quite high regard in recent years because of her sleek design, fantastic abilities, and a great fight. The story does go a little bit down from Crestor, but doesn't go too far down to where it ruins the series. Because to me, Madara is still a fantastic story. The Beast and story perspective does go down a bit from Crestor, but not enough to throw people off the series, and is still a fantastic book. A great midpoint to kick off the late stage of this series. And now we're on to spoiler for my All Generation series, All Generation Battle of the Beast tournament, sorry. We now go on to a semi-finalist, which is Elik the Lightning Horror. Now, the story at this point in the series, I would say the story is at its weakest. And that's because compared to the other books, I don't remember much from the story in Elik much. But Beast's perspective, I'd argue, is equal to Madara. And what I mean by that is the abilities are better than Madara. Design, in my opinion, not better, so that equals it. And the fight is equal to Madara. Chaotic, like Crestor's was. Not as chaotic as Crestor's. But I like Madara's for the simplicity, but also tension raised in that fight. And for Elik's, the fight is more chaotic with a little less tension. But it's great. So less tension, but it's more chaotic. That just balances it out to make Elik and Madara relatively equal to me on a Beast perspective. Story perspective, Madara is better, but that's not by much. Yes, I said Elik is the weakest weakest story of the series, but being honest, that's because I don't remember much. And if I'm being completely honest regarding that, just because it's the weakest story perspective, it still sets up a good climax in that book to lead on to the best beast, the best book of this series. And that is Carnivora the Winged Scavenger. I hold this beast in the highest regard, almost the utmost regard, the pinnacle of regardlessness. Yeah. The beast, which in my opinion has a simple design like Madara with a little bit of creativity with the wings, looks beautiful, by the way. Represents a nice hyena design which can be linked to a bit of a dog-like design. I like my dogs. I do have pet dogs. Obviously, I have 3. You probably heard them bark in previous videos. But I do like my dogs. And my dog-like beasts I hold in quite high regard and I love. And Carnivora is one of them. Carnivora, when I finished reading her, got me hooked onto Beast Quest. To where I went and got Series 1, read it, and was like, this is great. A couple years later, I got Series 2, then Series 3, 4, 5, I've reread 7, then 8, then actually the first book of 9. And then, fast forward 5 years, I get the rest of 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And then I continue onwards until I have the entire series of Beast Quest. And whilst, yes, there was a bit of intermission between getting the books, the difference between the 5 years from Ursus to getting Minos was that I now had a job when I got Minos. And that's when I started buying the books myself. So I finished up the collection, which I was hooked with from the very beginning. And Carnivora, I have only her to thank for it. There's been times where I held her to be the second best of the series. There's been most of the time where I hold her to be the best of this series. And other times she doesn't even crack my top 10 of books in general. But now, because of everything that she's done to keep me into Beast Quest, her accomplishments she's made in the Battle of the Beast tournaments, OG and AG, I can't help but think you are one of my favorite beasts of Beast Quest. And story perspective? So, I said throughout the story, it starts great with Conval, goes up with Hellion, up more with Crestor, down a bit with Madara, down a bit with Elic, and the story surpasses Crestor with Carnivora. The best story aspect in Series 7 is the final part. And it's not even the fight of Tom versus Carnivora. It is Tom, Alina, Storm, Silver, Dalaton, Freya, Carnivora, Crestor, Merc, no, not Merc, Conval, Hellion, Madara, and Elic defending Tavania from the evil hands of Malval and his goons. Oh my god, it's a fantastic fight where if you don't know it's coming, you are greeted to some of the best pictures you'll ever see in a Beast Quest book. You got this one where all the good beasts of Tavania come in, and then the very next, well, a couple pages from then, one of my favorite pictures of the entire series that does not have a beast in. And an epic final fight. 2 fights in this book. One of Tom versus Carnivora, which is a nice, quick, very high stakes fight for what it is on an icy arena, which I'm not the biggest fan of. But that doesn't change my dislike. That doesn't change my likeness for Carnivora. I love this beast. And then we go on to the final fight, where it's a battle, not against the beast, but the battle for Tavania. And then it ends with Tom and Alina battling Malval, pushing him into a portal back to Avantia. One of Malval's goons are running up to the portal, whilst Freya and Dalaton are staying on in Tavania, defending the goons, but one goon slips past, about to get into the portal to get to Tom and save his boss. But Silver jumps in and pushes him back into Tavania when the portal closes, with Silver on the other side. So it doesn't even end on a happy ending, because Tom is separated from his mother that he fought so hard to get to. And Alina's separated from arguably her best friend that she's known since he was a puppy. Well, a cub. What is a young wolf called? A wolfling. I'm pretty sure it's a pup. But they both, yes, survived. Malval got away. But they got back to Avantia, which is the happy part. But they lost 2 people, or 2 characters, which are close to each of them. Alina, a good friend. Tom, his mother, that he fought so hard to get to. What an ending this book has. With a great final fight, the Battle for Tavania. That's what I'm going to be calling it now. I don't care anymore. As well as a bittersweet ending like Series 5 has. This is why this wraps up the quote-unquote trilogy of Series 5, 6 and 7, but turns the trilogy into a quadrilogy going into Series 8 because it's a bittersweet ending. Series 8 ends on a happy ending with no mistakes whatsoever. Well, okay, maybe there are a few negatives, but not as bad as this one. Bad as in, like, sad moments. Not bad as in, like, oh, this ended's terrible. It's not terrible. Oh my gosh, I'm so energetic today. I'm so high on energy. But I have been waiting for so long to be able to talk about this series on why it's my favorite. Express everything I love about this series. Being able to really dissect what about this series that makes me like it so much. It's Freya wanting to stay behind, stay away from his son once his son does what he does best. Her son, whilst her son does what he does best. Defeating beasts, while she also a mistress of the beast from Gwildor, she stays behind and trains up Dalaton, who starts off as this uh, a great representative for the deadly sin being sloth, not being able to do much, just rather fat, just being like, whatever, you're trapped here, what can you do? And throughout the series we see apparitions from Oradu, I think his name is, where Freya's just training Dalaton up. One of which is where she's training him up with sword fighting, and then Dalaton comes up, rises up in the ranks, and with his team conquers Malvel. Dalaton becomes the master of the beast for Tavania, and what a set of beasts he has to at his command. Not his command where you tell them what to do, but his command who will help him defend this kingdom. And that's just one aspect I like. I like the whole story of Tom exploring a realm that he feels so familiar with, but ultimately so alien in, because it's not the world he's used to. The beasts not being in the terrain that they're built for, that they're used to, and being scared. And when they get sent back to their domain, we don't know what about them next, but we can only assume that they're much calmer now. They know where they are, and that's just great. There's so much about this series that I like, but my favourite part of these beasts is their terrain, because they're not in their right terrains when they are fought. And that is the main thing I like about this series, because the world isn't lost. It's the beasts that are lost. So the series is called The Lost World, and that's because no one knows where they are until they get told exactly where they are. And then we get told that the beasts are just as lost. They're scared. They're not evil. They're scared. And that's what I love most about these beasts and this story as a whole. Because it doesn't have evil beasts. It has Malvel at one of its darkest, where he actually kills someone. I don't know what else to say. I can go on for ages about this series. And trust me, if I do, this video will be an hour long. But for a retrospective video, I think I've said my fair share on why Series 7 is my favourite series, and why, if there's any series that you should read, that even if it's just one series and no other series, I'd recommend Series 7. Series 1 is a great starter, but if you just want to read one series and leave the series after that, go with Series 7. Because you have a great solid story throughout the entire series. And it starts off a little bit weak with the beasts, but then as soon as we get to Crestor, it's nothing but high hopes for the beasts being fantastic. Almost equal with each other in awesomeness. Oh, I'm so glad I got to do this retrospective, and I hope you guys are enjoying the fact that I'm just generally happy to be doing this. I wanted to wait for a day where there was no one else in this house that I'm in for me to just use the full extent of my voice to just really get across to you guys what I love about this series. And the day has finally come. So now, obviously, we know what's next, where I get to rank all these books from my least favourite to favourite. And I just want to make it clear, yes, these books, I like all of them. I do like all these beasts. I do have a set in stone least favourite, and even if this beast does grow up for more respect, go from an okay beast to a good beast, like 5th place is, it probably won't surpass it, where it's gonna stay my least favourite, but it's still, I still hold it in high regard. And that's solely because of his accomplishments in the All Generation tournament, and that is Hellion the Fiery Foe. He's my least favourite of this series, but that's not a bad thing. I like the story aspects where Alina is facing her fears and taking on a beast made of fire. Moving on to 5th place, we do have the other okay beast, well, good beast this time. I'll say this beast ranks in good, being Conval the Cold-Blooded Brute. I do hold this beast in high regard. He is better than Komodo and other reptilian beasts that are before him, unless I'm forgetting one. But I hold Conval very close to me, being the first Beast Quest book I read, and originally the face of the Holy Bible of Beast Quest beasts, where Conval was actually the mascot for the first A to Z book before Slivka. So, fun fact that was. And I only know that because when Lucas did his series 1 to 20 ranking, I think. No, series 1 to 13 or series 1 to 12 ranking, he showed his Holy Bible, which was the first edition, which actually had Conval as the mascot. And yes, Lucas, I do watch your old videos sometimes. So don't cringe, please. I cringe at my own videos. You can cringe at yours, okay? It's fine. It's fine, okay? But yeah, these two beasts are easy to me, the weakest of the series. And then after Conval, we skip the great category and go into the fantastic category of beasts. With 4th place being a kind of easy choice. And that's because I don't have such a strong attachment to this one, unlike the top 2. And I don't have a special link with it outside of my videos. But her accomplishments in Battle of the Beasts All Generation just holds her up higher to me. And whilst being 4th place, I'd argue being one of the better water beasts, despite kind of being a bit shocking when it comes to water. Yeah, Edict of Light and Horror is my 4th place beast. And that's not to say it's a bad beast, because quite frankly, it's fantastic. But to me, when it comes to talking about Series 7, we know what the top 3 not is, but should be. This is obviously my opinion, so I do believe that the last 3 beasts should be the top 3 and should stay being the top 3. Not just for me, but for anyone else. And anyone else who has a ranking of Series 7 where one of these beasts aren't in the top 3, it's interesting to know, because I have seen a ranking where my 3rd place was actually 5th. And I didn't really get an explanation why, but I assume there was a good reason for it. And if I was to guess, it's due to simplicity. I mean, yeah, I held Madara quite okay when I first read her because of the simple design being a bit boring to me. But as I got older, more mature, I wouldn't say I got mature, but I looked at this beast and think simplicity is best. And that's what Madara excels at. For me, Madara is a fantastic beast. For such a simple design, she executes it perfectly, with a great fight with high tensions, not chaotic, and such great abilities, with a quite unique one with the glass fur. I do love that ability. But of course, we know what the top 2 are. And what the top 2, to me, are and always will be. I believe in my Beast review I did so many years ago, these top 2 were the same. And right now they're still the same. They've always been these 2 as my favourite. And it's hard. It really is hard to pick one between them. But just like my Beast review was, my second favourite is Crestor the Crushing Terror. And that's not to say Carnivora is a better beast, because as I said, Crestor is the better beast. But Carnivora is the better story and ends on such a satisfying note. But Crestor for me, still a great story, a fantastic beast, and has earned a right to be known as a 2-time semi-finalist and a 1-time finalist. So close to being a runner-up. But really though, for Crestor, doing fantastic in my tournaments is the reason why I hold him quite high regard and hold him as the best beast of this series. However, it's simply because of the epicness that was the finale of Carnivora is why he's second to me. But Carnivora is still a great beast, so don't let that think that I don't like Carnivora. Carnivora is a fantastic beast and a great end to the series as a story. What I like most about both of these beasts is that they actually have a combination attack where Crystal can shoot his acid and Carnivora can use her fire breath to cause an explosion. Where have I seen that before? Ben 10! Ben 10 has done something like that in one of my favourite episodes of it called Grudge Match, where Kevin 11 shot Stinkfly's goo and then heat blasts Fireball, causing an explosion. The goo, similar to acid, let's say, but when I saw that in Carnivora, it reminded me of that episode in Ben 10. I was like, oh my god, this is now one of my favourite books. And yeah, even if I didn't notice that, I would still hold Carnivora in quite high regard and still think that's a great combination attack for both of these beasts. Ultimately though, why Carnivora is my favourite? And that's because Carnivora has always been my favourite. Even for beast perspective, I still say that she's equal to Crestor. But for me right now, Crestor is the better beast. But on a story perspective included, Carnivora is better than Crestor. And I can't say if it's by a lot or by a small margin. But that's just how I feel. And for that, I'm now feeling a bit of sorrow because now I've finished talking about my favourite series. I've done the retrospective on Series 7. I done my ranking. And now I just feel sorrow because now I'm done talking about what is, in my opinion, the best series of Beast Quest. And whilst I feel like I've been entertained by shouting and being so excited, but I had to control myself by clapping so many times, I hope you're able to understand why I hold this series in such high regard, ignoring my hyperactivity. But on a more controlled basis, I feel like I was able to get my opinions across about this series and why I hold it in such high regard. Series 7 is always going to be my favourite series. There's nothing that's going to change that. And that was solidified when I did that series ranking with Lucas. And even before then, I held Series 7 in quite high regard. And I would say probably half a year before I did that series ranking with Lucas, that's when I decided Series 7 is the best series. And right now, it still stays true. My opinion on Carnivora is the same. Crestor the same. Madara and Elic have gone up. Hellion's gone up. Convul has gone up as well. And the series is going to stay as my favourite. There's nothing that's going to change that. You guys can voice your opinions on why it's not your favourite. On hell, even if you think it's the worst series, you can voice your opinion on that. But yeah, whilst I respect it, I will respond to the comments when I see them. I'm afraid it's going to fall on deaf ears. Because I am blinded by nostalgia and awe with these beasts. And the story ending on such a bittersweet moment to where I'd argue it rivals Series 5 with a bittersweet ending. Yeah, good luck with trying to dislodge Series 7 as my favourite series. But with that, that is all for this time. If you like what you saw, leave a like, leave a comment, don't forget to subscribe, press the notification bell down in the corner below. And I feel like I'm going to have my favourite beast here to end the video with me. But until then, peace out.